Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Office Bloke Daz.
Collectively, we are the Office Blokes.
Yep.
It's true.
Three natural phenomena from the office.
Nothing natural about us.
Or deadly.
Speak for
Hey,
yourself.
well.
Yeah, speak for yourself there, mate.
Unless you're riding a bike and driving in front of Darren.
Wearing lycra.
They're coming to be my friends now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to take them home and we're going to watch the video, give them a drink.
Take down to the basement.
Drill a hole in their head.
I presume you've finished watching Dharma now.
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay.
Gone on a few other things.
Well, this is Lost in the Pond. Five deadly natural phenomena America has that Britain doesn't.
Tornadoes.
Well, I've
gotta be.
already touched on the
Hurricanes.
fact that we do have tornadoes.
Not like they do there.
Well,
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Not
not like
deadly
they
though,
do.
are they?
But if it was a natural phenomenon and they said tornadoes, we do have tornadoes.
I've never seen one in my life
That says deadly though, to be fair.
in England.
There was one on the news a few years ago in Birmingham that took the roofs off loads of houses, wasn't there? We do have them, but they're just nowhere near the scale of this.
Very, very rare, aren't they?
Hurricanes, though, that's got to be on there because we don't have hurricanes.
No. Well, we have.
Not such.
We have
The remnants of them, don't we, when they come over when-
Depends on what they probably classify as like a category 1 hurricane over here.
Right.
They don't like a little like. Fucking hell, it's windy. Need me big coat.
Yeah, a leaf might fall off the tree or something, maybe,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you know,
Chair a tip over.
yeah.
Fair enough. Well, let's get into it. Five deadly natural phenomena that America has that Britain doesn't.
And that's true. In fact, it's true for most countries that aren't called the United States of America, where 90% of all F5
Big
tornadoes
microphone, that.
ever recorded took
What
place.
she said.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to deadly natural phenomena. Last week, a tornado ripped through Nashville, and it got me thinking about how America is very extreme when it comes to some of these natural phenomena in a way that Britain isn't. And for anybody who's looking to move to the United States, it's good to keep these things in mind. Just keep in mind they are rare, right? So it's not like a Roland Emmerich movie every day in this country, but it is pretty staggering how Mother Nature can be quite a bit more overbearing in the United States. And if you think this video is just going to be Lawrence moaning about the snow again, you would be incorrect, because over half of the entries on this list are not even weather related. Well, actually one might be with a technicality. And so without further ado, let's take a look at 5 deadly natural phenomena that America has that Britain doesn't. Yes, earthquakes, and there is a reason that I specified magnitude 7, because Britain has never had one. In fact, the worst it's ever had was a 6.1 magnitude earthquake, and that didn't kill anybody. In Britain, that's sort of par for the course. Deaths as a result of an earthquake are incredibly rare. The only earthquake I remember living through in Britain was one that emanated from the Lincolnshire town of Market Raisin, and as I recall, the extent of the damage that day was a fallen patio set. But magnitude 7 earthquakes or above are not just these sort of fictional events that are reserved for films like the imaginatively titled Earthquake. These have actually happened in American history. In fact, one happened just last year in California. I remember all of these famous people on social media posting pictures and videos of their swimming pools swaying from side to side and the dogs looking confused. And it's not really surprising that this happened in California, because California is sort of the capital of America's most deadly earthquakes. Indeed, the nation's most deadly earthquake occurred in 1906 in San Francisco, when a frankly astonishing 3,000 people perished amid a 7.9 magnitude earthquake. Now, since that deadly earthquake in San Francisco, California has, of course, endured some terrible earthquakes in the century that has passed. It's also waiting, of course, for the so-called big one, which, you know, some people think is inevitable. Either way,
Is it in California where there was like that double-story bridge and it collapsed and there's like a famous picture of cars underneath? You know, where the top had gone down and squashed a load of cars during an earthquake?
Not sure. I
I've
remember
seen
one
that picture.
No, I remember seeing one falling apart because of the wind, but not
Bridge?
Yeah, not because of an earthquake.
Oh no, that was a video we reacted to about a week ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Where the
that's
bridge was
quite
going
famous.
like that.
Yeah, I've seen that quite a few times though. Don't know about that one.
Pretty scary earthquakes.
I've been in one.
I've been in one. In Manchester, of all places.
Same here.
Yeah.
I think it was anyway. It's either that or a big truck going past. I don't know. But
No, I've been in a proper one where the building swayed and everything, and all
Yeah.
that, like a little tremor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was.
it's a bit off-putting, isn't it? To say the least.
I got behind some fucking slow woman going down the stairs. I'm just like, I was just going, fucking move. My foot.
It's for your own good. Boom.
And then we stood again, flight by flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks, someone would come and said to her, she's come with all bruises on her face and all that. Someone said, looks like you've been in an earthquake.
Yeah. Walked into a door. The one I was in Manchester made it into an episode of Shameless.
Really?
It's where Frank.
Because you were in it.
No, yeah. Frank fell over in the pub and bumped his head.
Oh, yeah, I've
And
seen that.
Yeah,
that episode, that was based off the real one that hit Manchester.
Oh, really?
I remember, I think I remember that one. I mean, it wasn't big. I mean, just like a bit of a thingy for a
It
few
was like
seconds, wasn't
it
it?
was like
But-
that for about 2 seconds.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? So,
Yeah.
not much.
To get past all of these quakes and shakes, I am assured that California truly is the golden state. That is once you've also got past these. We saw it in Australia at the beginning of this year as the bushfires that engulfed that country. We see them, of course, every single year in the United States. Specifically, from a news standpoint, you tend to see them in California. But I've seen at least smoke from wildfires in Utah and Idaho, so it's not just a California issue. That just happens to be where some of the deadlier wildfires occur in the US, but not the deadliest of all time. That very unwanted record goes not to California or Utah or Idaho, but to Wisconsin. That's right, the Peshtigo fire of 1871 killed upward of 1,500 people, and there's a weird reason that you might not have heard of it. It may have burned through 1.2 million acres and been the deadliest wildfire in US history, but due to a stunning coincidence, it was largely buried in the newspapers of the day, where it was overshadowed by another fire that broke out that day, a fire that history will remember as the Great Chicago Fire. And the Great Chicago Fire also overshadowed the Great Michigan Fire. It's like how John F. Kennedy's death overshadowed that of C.S. Lewis and Aldous Huxley. What are the chances? Well, for decades, some theorized that all of the fires were caused by the very same thing, that being debris falling to Earth from a missing comet. But in recent times, scientists have ruined that theory by pointing out that actually, to the touch, comet debris is actually cold and would probably extinguish the fire, so it was aliens. Meanwhile, people very rarely die in wildfires in Britain, if at all, though wildfires do indeed exist there. The same cannot be said of our next entry.
It's usually a dickhead with a barbecue on the moors, isn't it, in this country?
That or a school kid when they're off on the holiday,
Yeah.
dicking about with matches.
Seen both over the last 2 weeks.
What dickheads and matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, wildfires are a scary one, though, when you think how fast they move.
Yeah.
Oh, they can.
So I've seen a few programs about the people who fight them, you know, and they head to the forest and start felling trees, and they have fires to burn areas so the wildfire can't travel across because there'll be no trees there to burn and stuff.
I'm pretty sure there were bad ones in Europe this year as well. In like
There has been in
was it
Spain,
Germany,
hasn't
and
there?
France, Germany, Spain.
Yeah, I
something
think
like
so.
that,
Yeah, it's been pretty bad.
Greece.
The worst ones I've heard
Greece,
of in the news, anyway.
Yeah.
They actually had one apparently a couple of years ago. I think it was in Finland, but it was up in the Arctic Circle.
Oh yeah.
And it was like some trees that were usually covered in snow and wildfires there, apparently.
Wow.
It's one of these, evidence of global warming or climate change things that you see for a bit.
Now we're getting into the kind of phenomena that I've not seen with my own eyes, unless you include 1997's Volcano or 1997's Dante's Peak. What are the chances that two very similar disaster movies would come out in the same year? Let's ask 1998's Armageddon and 1998's Deep Impact. But the truth of the matter is, volcano eruptions in the United States are not just works of fiction. You may recall recently that there was a volcano eruption in Hawaii, and don't get me started on Mount St. Helens. Actually do, because that represents the deadliest eruption in US history. In 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted, killing 57 people. And over the course of the next decade, it would see more and more eruptions. And this isn't surprising, because if you look at a map of the west coast of the United States, or just the west coast of the Americas in general, look at all those active volcanoes. Wow. That's where they sit. I blame Pangea for breaking up, because it's enough to put me off moving to the Pacific coast. And if one of those blows, not even Pierce Brosnan can help me. Now, having looked at a map of all of the active volcanoes in the United States, here are all of the active volcanoes in Britain. That's right, there are precisely no active volcanoes in the entirety of Britain. So Britain is thankfully unlikely to match the death toll at Mount St. Helens. Unfortunately, our next entry far surpasses it. So to use language that you're more likely to hear in this, my adoptive country, Category 5 hurricanes are like totally the worst. Literally true, the deadliest natural disaster in American history was the Great Storm of 1900. Striking Galveston, Texas, it is believed to have killed between 6,000 and 12,000 Americans. But this was a Category 4 storm. The deadliest Category 5 storm was the Okeechobee Storm of 1928, which killed 2,500 Americans and 1,600 others elsewhere. In recent times, you probably remember Hurricane Katrina, which was also a Category 5 storm and of course led to thousands of fatalities in New Orleans and some of the surrounding areas and states as well. And if you're watching this from Britain, you might be thinking, what? We don't have hurricanes in Britain, and deadly ones at that. Well, the truth is people have died as a result of hurricanes in Britain, just not Category 5 hurricanes. And that's because in Britain there has never been a Category 5 hurricane on record. And that includes the most famous storm in living memory, that would be the Great Storm of 1987, which nonetheless did kill 18 people and 15 million trees. And all this after the weatherman Michael Fish reported that there wasn't going to be a hurricane, so we weren't prepared. Thankfully it happened at night, so most people were asleep in their soft beds. Same can't be said for the trees, which ironically did provide material for some of the bed frames. No, in Britain...
Did you see the someone got killed round the corner?
Yeah, tree fell over.
A tree fell over, yeah. It's madness, isn't it? Did you see that?
No, not seen that.
That had nothing to do with the weather. Someone was working on that tree 3 days before.
Are you kidding?
No.
I didn't hear that.
I know someone who lives on that road.
Yeah.
Who knows the people that were involved.
Wow.
So yeah, it's someone was working on the tree 3 days prior.
So did the whole thing go? Mm. So if they just like chopped it down one side,
Don't
so
know.
it's off kilter and
Don't
it's
know.
just gone.
Something's happened.
It's
It's being investigated.
Yes.
two guys like at 2 a.m, was it, or
Yeah,
something,
walking
just
past.
walking down a street
Oh, really?
in Sale, and a
Yeah.
tree just went whack like that
Wow.
and killed one of them and injured the other.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
terrible.
I assumed it was
No,
because
I
of all the
didn't.
heavy rain
No.
we had recently.
Right.
Might have played a part in it, but someone was
Yeah.
working on it 3 days prior.
Wow.
Hurricanes are sort of rare. We'll usually get what they refer to as the tail end of the hurricane. And speaking of tails... Thankfully, unless you include 1996's Twister, I've never seen a tornado with my own eyes, but if I did, I'd absolutely myself. At this point in my life, perhaps it's just luck that I haven't seen one, because to say...
I like Larry's word there of shit and the beep at the same volume.
I know.
That was a bit, wasn't it?
we don't have them in Britain would be a complete lie. Tornadoes are actually quite numerous in the British Isles, but there's a big difference between the tornadoes that we get in Britain and the tornadoes that we get in the United States of America. Firstly, the UK has not recorded a tornado-related fatality since 1931, and before the 20th century you'd have to go back to 1558 and then 1091. Historically, around only 12 people have been killed by tornadoes.
I need to find that photo of the front of my house that's been torn down by a tornado. Although
Is that what it was, tornado?
They called it a whirlwind, but what else is that going to mean?
Jimmy White?
In like 1920.
Oh, no, 920 now.
Yeah, it's up in the local pub across the road from my house, a picture of the front of the house. So I definitely need to get hold of it because I've talked about it a few times.
I'll just go in the pub and take the picture of it.
I'll take a picture of the picture.
Yeah.
I've not been in that pub for a while.
I'll take the picture.
Yeah.
My house.
Plus I'm sober now, so I'm not going in pubs, am I?
Britain. And that's because British tornadoes just aren't very powerful. The one that ripped through London in 1091 is believed not only to be the oldest known tornado in British history, but possibly the strongest. They theorised that it might have been a Category 4 tornado, suggesting that anything above that, aka an F5 tornado, has never made landfall in Britain. And that's true. In fact, it's true for most countries that aren't called the United States of America, where 90% of all F5 tornadoes ever recorded took place. Now, 37% of those took place in either Oklahoma, Kansas, or Texas. You would expect that they're in the Great Plains. But surprisingly, the Great Plains did not play host to the deadliest tornado in US history. That would go to the tri-state area of Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. That 1925 twister killed 58 times the UK's all-time total. If you're sitting at home and doing the maths on that, stop right now, because I'm just going to tell you the death toll was 698. It's by far the biggest, but as we are reminded by that tornado that ripped through Nashville last week, itself an incident that beats the UK's all-time record, we are reminded once again of the destructive power of American tornadoes, and my thoughts go to the people recovering from that incident. In the meantime, for anybody that's looking to move to the United States, I hope this video hasn't put you off. For the most part, you won't see any of this, unless you live in California. I'm joking, you'll be fine. I just wanted to make you aware of these things and to remind my American viewers that Mother Nature just seems to have it in for you. As for me, doing this video has reminded me that I can live with the odd blizzard and that I do miss British weather. That's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll be very interested to hear this, if you've experienced firsthand any of these phenomena. In the meantime, don't forget to follow me on Twitter where I...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only ever experienced really an earthquake, really.
Yeah.
And that was shit.
Yeah. I mean, over here, we don't really get a lot of extreme weather, do we?
No.
At all.
I saw a tornado in northern France that didn't touch down, but it came from the clouds and it must have been only about 20, 30 foot off the ground. And it was in an area of northern France where the year before a few people had been killed by a tornado. So that was spectacular to see, even though it didn't fully touch down. But other than that, and that little mini earthquake in Manchester, not really for me.
No, you don't want to be around extreme weather. Like you say, it's good to see bad weather and good weather. It's a little bit of interest, but to be in extreme weather, you don't really want to be around.
No, it's dangerous stuff, though, isn't it? It
fuck about with that.
Kills people.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we just have to put up with the fact that it's grey and miserable here 90% of the time, but we don't get the extremes.
But I'm one of them that's not asked about the weather. If someone says to me it's going to rain tomorrow, I'm like, sometimes I check the weather just to sort of see whether I need a coat or an umbrella if I'm going out somewhere.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's
coat.
like, I'm a big coat.
Big coat,
it starts getting
coat,
cold.
or-
I mean, I'm t-shirt all year round, sort of thing. But I've got a raincoat in the back of my car.
Yeah.
And I've had it for about 2 years, and I've only ever worn it like twice. I'm like, just put an umbrella up, and then it starts getting a bit cold. Winter time it'll get a bit colder.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. I'll probably have to wear a jacket, sort of thing, or a hoodie.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really get that cold.
It's easy to get stuck in that trap in this country of thinking about the weather too much. Because you're like, I've done it before where, it's still summertime, but I look at it and it's going to rain. So I'm like, I can't wear shorts today. It's going to rain. And it's like, why can't you wear shorts?
Yeah.
You can wear shorts in the winter.
Yeah.
But
It's become a trend over here, hasn't it? Big, massive bubble coat and a pair of shorts.
I've not seen that.
Oh, it's everywhere, mate.
Really?
Everywhere.
I hate big, massive bubble coats anyway. They do me head in. Interesting one.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.